Mga kutsero, ilang araw ko na po ito sinasabi. Pero sabi ko naman sa inyo, ang batting average ko malaki. Bago natin na pag-usapan yan, mag-shoutout muna tayo sa mga kaibigan natin sa Sendwave. Okay. So kung kayo po ay nasa US, UK, Canada, Italy, France, Spain, Ireland, and Belgium, ay pwede na po kayo magpadala sa Sendwave ng wala pong remittance fees, mga kutsero, no? Diretso po yan sa Pilipinas. Napakaganda po niyan. Ang gagawin nyo lamang, i-download ng Sendwave app. Okay? Pag-download nyo po ng Sendwave app, mga kutsero, i-register nyo yung bank account details at pwede na po kayo magpadala sa GCash, Cash Pickup, at iba't ibang mga bangko sa Pilipinas. At mga kutsero, no, sa inyo pong unang padala. Huwag niyo pong kalimutan, mga kutsero, sa una niyong padala. Kapag ginamit niyo po si Sendwave, gamitin niyo na rin po yung aking promo code na Coach Jarret para makakuha po kayo ng $10 free credit. So, ayan po mga kutsero, no? Gamitin niyo na po yung Sendwave for all of your remittance needs. Huwag niyo pong kalimutan, wala ho yung remittance fees. Ibig sabihin, kapag meron akong fearless forecast, malamang sa malamang, mga 95, 98%, mga 90 to 95% tama. Ilang araw ko na pong sinasabi, PBBM po ay sinabi niya na may mga pang-aabuso sa panahon ni FPRRD sa drug war. Yun din ang pananaw ni PFPRRD, malamang sa malamang, yun yung tama. Marcos correct to say rigid law enforcement leads to abuses. There were abuses in Duterte's drug war. Yan po ang sinabi daw ni President Bongbong Marcos nitong nakaraan. Panoorin natin to.
A week and a half ago, in response to the tragic murder of Alex De La Rosa, your Department of Justice issued a very strong statement condemning the culture of impunity in the Philippines and argued that it will not be allowed to stand. Could you elaborate a bit on what your administration's plans are to tackle that culture and the human rights abuses that it's allowed?
Well, I think those derive most of the discussion that are critical of the human rights situation of the Philippines derive from the policy that we undertook to fight the drug war. And perhaps and in my view, what had happened in the previous administration is that we focused very much on enforcement. And because of that, it could be said that there were abuses by certain elements in the government, and that has caused some concern with many in many quarters about the human rights situation in the Philippines. Well, I cannot speak to what my predecessor had in mind and what his idea was, but what I can speak to is the policy that we have undertaken. And that I said the drug war continues to be at the source of much criminality in the Philippines. The syndicates have grown stronger and wealthier and more influential, worryingly so. But instead of going after everyone, I tried to identify the key areas where we have that we have to tackle, the key areas that we have to attend to, so that we can see a diminution of the activity of the drug syndicates. To this end, we have just finished. We instituted a process by which we asked. It is very clear. I think anyone who looks at the drug problem in the Philippines, even very quickly, will immediately see that the problem lies in enforcement. And some of our law enforcement officers have been sucked in to these terrible systems that have enriched themselves at the cost of the lives of many, especially our young people. And the policemen, that is why I organized a commission, and I asked for the resignation of all the police officers from colonel level up. And we have received about 917 resignations. And we are now in the process of looking through the records of these officers to see those that have had derogatory comments, those that have evidence against them. As of today, 2 of those very high-ranking, I think general rank, have already been separated from the service. And there are still over 30 cases that are being administratively investigated, and that will continue. And if anything is found that that implicates any of them to have been to be involved in any of these activities, then we will start to develop the cases against them, and in that way dismantle this terrible system that has grown up and has become such a cancer in our society uh, that has gone all the way to the highest levels of government. So the change in policy, I believe, is much more focused. I always say that the previous administration focused on enforcement. We have taken enforcement as far as we can. Now it is time to look at
The
actually
enforcers.
going after dismantling these syndicates. And before that, we should also look at not the rehabilitation of those who have already fallen into this drug culture, which has destroyed their lives. Further back to that process is a process of re-education, of explaining, especially to our young people, what what the potential damage is to their lives should they be involved in this way, not only as users, not only as addicts, but also as dealers and operators of these syndicates. And so it is we are looking at the problem as a whole. We start with the errant policemen. We go back to the rehabilitation process for those who have unfortunately fallen into this addiction cycle, and for the young people in the country who have yet to, who I hope and we hope will never enter into that kind of lifestyle, to continue to educate and to give options to our young people so that they are not tempted to indulge in these activities.
Okay, so yan po yung sinabi ni PBBM na naging ginawa ng kontrobersya. Primarily because, syempre, para tanggalan ng kredibilidad yung presidente. Okay, former President Rodrigo Duterte has agreed with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s recent remarks that some abuses have been committed under the previous administration due to a focus on law enforcement. In a radio interview, Duterte was asked to comment on Marcos's reply to a question on the alleged abuses during a forum in Washington. Ano sinabi ni Presidente? Or the former President? Yes! Oo daw. Yes, that was attributed allegedly made by the President. I am not sure if he was quoted in the complete context of the statement. I am sure that it was not intended to criticize me because he knows how hard it is to be president, especially with a serious problem right now, sabi. You know what I'm supposed to do? I cannot be libertarian. I can only be a stoic human being dedicated to enforce the law because you are the implementors, you are the enforcers, sinabi pa niya. He said Marcos was correct when he made the statement. Tama siya na along the way in the enforcement of the law, a rigid attitude towards the enforcement of the law, abuses will be committed. Ngayon, sabihin ko, I'll go further. Not only abuses, sometimes killing unnecessarily. Mga kutsero, alam din natin to. Dahil totoo yan. Yung apat na pulis na pumatay kay Kian De Los Santos. Recently lang, 2 o 3 pulis ang na-convict. Guilty rin. Murder because of the drug war. Those never intended, I am sure, by the law enforcement agency, meron yung collateral damage. It is shootout inside the house of the siguro of the drug lords, etc., or of the pushers, etc., etc. So yun. So paano ba yan? Kasi politics, Philippine politics. Ito lang yung actually, ito lang yung nakakadiri sa Philippine politics. Yung ganito. Yung makakaalyado mo na, tapos all of a sudden. Totoo nga yung sinasabi nila there are no permanent friends in politics, only permanent interests. So, yun. So, Ayun po mga kotsero, I'll see you in our next Coach Jarret Live. God bless everyone. See you tomorrow. Bye everyone. Bye.